No kitty, no, that's my cookie. Cat is eating my cookie.
Hi! Welcome back to Star Stories in Life, where we talk about star stories in life. So today we are going to talk about the story and life part of our podcast. We are going to dive into a very controversial topic, doing the rounds nowadays through various social media apps. And also, I think a lot of my friends are discussing about this and inquiring about this. So I thought, like, maybe both of us can share our experiences, stories, research about what we found out about polyamory. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I was thinking maybe we could start by defining polyamory. So, Emma, could you help us with that?
Yes, I'm going to be getting the definition from scarletteen.com, which is a resource site for normally teenagers, but it's simple definitions, descriptions, and articles about different things that have to do with sexuality. So we're anything from birth control to sex and disability, pregnancy, parenting, all that kind of stuff is on Scarlet Teen. Scarlet Teen is a decently old website. I think it's been around for maybe like 10-ish years. So they've been updating the website with more information as more information and studies come out. And let me check. It should have. They do have like sites of like where information is coming from and stuff like that. And most of it is written in a way that's easy to understand, and it uses simple language so that you don't have to be like, oh, I gotta go look up what this word means and stuff like that. It's
That's
not
awesome.
it's not all like clinical and stuff, which is what you see in a lot of other websites.
So it's like more layman friendly.
Yeah, it's layman friendly. So if you have like a question about anything that has to do with sexuality or just sexual identity and all those, honestly, Scarlet Teen is a really good place, and they run off of donations. So if you have money and you want to help in public sexual education, give some money to Scarlet Teen. Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
But please sponsor us.
But please sponsor us, Scarlet Teen. So that'd be great. So, I'm going to be reading from the first polyamory guide. It doesn't say when it was last updated, or at least I couldn't find it. Last updated in 2017. So there hasn't been any like major changes since 2017. The tags are relationships, polyamory, non-monogamy, open relationships, relationship models, multiple partners, non-monogamy, poly, relationships, dating, and communication. So these are keywords within the article. And luckily, the actual definition is really short. So that it can be defined in a lot of ways, but here is the simple one. Being interested in or pursuing intimate relationships, emotional and or sexual, with more than one person at the same time in a consensual, open, informed setting.
That last line.
That all of it,
so
it's
important.
consensual, open, informed. So I think I read on one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, because I'm in like a lot of like people being sexual type groups, like naughty journaling, where people are like talking about their experiences and stuff like that sexually, and like a lot of different types of Facebook groups of that nature. And one of them posted a like a meme, and it said, it's only polyamorous if the other people know that they're in the polyamorous relationship.
Exactly.
Like, it's, yeah, you can't say you're polyamorous and have two other partners who have no idea that the other one exists. that's not how it works.
Yes, and I want to kind of point out to the fact that sometimes people confuse polyamorous relationships with open relationships, and they could not be more different. Open relationships are between two people still.
Yes.
It doesn't extend to three, four, multiple partners. So two people who are in a romantic relationship decide that it's not sexually exclusive or maybe romantically exclusive. They would still go out on dates and meet other people and pursue their interests, but at the end of the day, they will come back to each other.
Yes,
so that would
basically.
what would be an open marriage or an open relationship. But a polyamorous relationship, it's from the Greek word poly, and which means multiple, and amorous. I'm sure we all understand that's
It's
love.
love.
So basically having multiple partners and you all know each other. I mean, of course it can be different. Like I've heard, like, there are so many permutations and combinations that can happen in those multiple among those multiple partners. Like, I think there's a concept like where there are two main people and there is a third guest, or like all of them are equally in the relationship, and the different mix of genders, and there's a lot going on. But basically, polyamorous relationships, that you have multiple partners that you are romantically involved with,
and everybody knows about it.
Yeah, and sex could be a part of it or may not be a part of it. It's completely up to those people.
Exactly.
Because asexual people can also have a polyamorous relationship.
Yes.
Right? So I think that was like a big confusion that I saw on the internet, and multiple times people have made videos and written articles on it. So I thought we could just like clear that off the bat before we like really jump into our stories.
Yes. It's very true. Like, it's the idea of, how all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. That's the idea when it comes to polyamory and open or monogamish relationships, where you're monogamous to people, but to people who don't know you're not monogamous. That's monogamish. When
and
you
also,
hide,
like, a lot of
from
people
your family.
A lot of people think that, oh, you cannot cheat if you're polyamorous. Oh, hell no.
Well, you can. It's like
you break the agreement, you cheat.
It's a contract. It's a relationship contract. It's just a different type of contract.
Exactly.
So it's but yeah, it's like all polyamorous relationships are open relationships, but not all open relationships are polyamorous. That's the idea. Because you can but the thing with both is that both have consent and informed, because you go out, you find someone that you find sexually attractive, and you let them know, hey, I'm in a relationship, I'm in an open relationship, and I'm interested in you. You want to do the nasty, and if they're okay with it, then they're okay with it. If they're like, yeah, no, then it's fine,
So I think there was another question about polyamory, was that so, I mean, we just talked about the fact that it doesn't have to involve sex, but if it just involves sex, is it polyamorous or not?
It could be. Like, if you have a long-running sexual partner, like a side friends with benefits. So it's just someone that you go to for sex, and your partner knows that this is the other person you go to for sex. Maybe it's sex that you can't get from your primary partner. Like, you want to do butt stuff, but your primary partner doesn't want to do butt stuff. So you go find someone who wants to only do butt stuff. So you do butt stuff with them, and then you do everything else with your primary partner. Or it could be something more extreme. You're like, I want to do like hard dom sub BDSM, because it's what I'm feeling at the moment. And your partner's like, I do not want to be a sub. No, thank you. And you guys agree that, okay, you're gonna go out, you're gonna find a sub. So that's a different kind of relationship.
Right.
It's not always romantic. It's dom relationship.
Yeah.
It's more sexual. For some people, it's emotional. For some people, it's a relationship, an actual relationship, but not for everyone. So it could not be for you, or it could but it's something that you can't get from your primary partner.
Right.
And
So even if it's like strictly sexual, you could still call it a
yeah,
polyamorous relationship because everyone is informed.
everyone's
Um,
informed, and it's a long running thing. That's what makes it
right,
into a
right.
polyamorous, because if it was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to do a down sub thing, but I'm not sure if I'm into it. So you go and you find someone to do it with, and it's like
But
a
that's it.
one-time thing, and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, that was it. I got my kicks, and that's good. And then that's just open because you just went to that one person that one time, and that's all.
Okay.
Like,
So, like, it definitely sounds, I mean, to me, it sounds like really normal, and something people might want. Um, and in definition, in theory, it does sound like it's great. I mean, you
yeah,
like multiple partners, you like them. Let's say that there are 3 or 4 people, and you like all of them. You want to, let's say, live with them. Do everything that we know people do in a relationship. So now coming to the part where most of our discussion, I think, will be around,
mm-hmm.
is how it can go wrong.
Oh yeah, it easily is the answer,
Easily.
because
I
like
think
with
relationships in general go wrong very easily. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be
because
polyamorous.
emotions, like
Mhm.
feelings are involved, and when feelings are involved, a small thing can become a big thing really fast. And it's also, I think it's also slightly cultural, because we still have this idea of, I shouldn't talk about what's bothering me for some reason.
Yes. Mhm.
Communication is probably one of the biggest things that everybody is saying that we have to do more of, because it's lacking in a lot of relationships, because there is this idea, and it is mostly um what's the word, it's media based, where
Mhm.
a relationship is just this way, that's just the way it is. Back in,
Yeah.
I don't know, the 50s, something like 50s or 60s, every single married husband had a mistress. That's just the way it was.
Yeah, that was like super common and
And
it's
it's
sort of
like,
acceptable. Like
and now it's like
people
the
who keep each
opposite.
other's
Like,
secrets like that.
not allowed. It's not allowed to happen. If someone knows you have another partner, even if you're in an open relationship, it's like the worst thing on the face of the planet. So, um, there's a there is a lack of communication, and when there's a lack of communication, that's when things start to go wrong.
It's
Like,
so interesting you say that because I have a story which this might be a problem.
ooh, let's
Sorry, but this might be a problem. So the title, this is a post on Reddit in the group, I think, Polyamory.
oh
Do we
yeah, I
call
looked
them
at that one.
groups or do we call them
There's
subreddits?
subreddits.
Yeah. So there is a subreddit called Polyamory.
Uh-huh.
And one of the posts there says, TFW. What is TFW?
Trigger fucking win, I think.
Yeah. You're right.
Is it positive?
Triggered fucking when you realize they weren't really polyamorous, they just wanted a bunch of friends they could have sex with.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the rant goes, sorry for the title. I don't mean to police anyone's definition of polyamory, just a little frustrated at why people bother to lead you to believe that there is something deeper there, to tell you they consider you one of their partners, to tell you how much they love and care about you, and then take it all back the second it gets a bit inconvenient.
Mm-hmm.
That the second you need something from them, some kind of support, you're just not worth it to them anymore.
Mm. That honestly sounds like a lot of monogamous relationships. Like all those fuck boys who are like, oh no, I'll be with you for now, and then like, you just become a little bit too high maintenance, and then it's like, okay, bye. And it's like, oh, all right. I am not high maintenance. But yes,
I think
it's
the
like,
definition of high maintenance also like varies
it
so much
varies.
from couple to
Yeah.
couple. Like, it really, really depends. It's the
Take
whole.
Take this. It's been farting for the past 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Gross.
Let's go take pictures.
Yes, go take pictures. Like, I think the basic definition of high maintenance is like needy. I
I
think.
think that, yeah, I think that's what it like implies.
It's either needy or expensive. One
Mhm.
of the two.
And yeah, I have never heard a man being called high maintenance. Have you ever been?
I've rarely started hearing it recently, and
This
when I say
man is so high
recently,
maintenance.
when I say recently, I mean since like 2015, when you remember back not too long, like 2015, maybe 2010s, when the idea of metrosexual started happening.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Those were high maintenance men because you know they had to make sure they looked
But
good all the
immediately they were
time.
labeled as gay, so
It was like gay but not gay.
like I remember like the
It
posts
was
that you were making on Facebook, I think.
yeah.
When you even mentioned that the straights are not okay, which I completely agree with,
Oh yeah, all of
because
my
having
streets are not okay.
but adding lemon to your water or something
Yes.
like that. What
You
was
cannot
it?
have
Like
lemon in your
something.
water. That's a female trait.
Yeah, and the girl tries to defend it by saying, I'm not saying they're necessarily gay, but it's a feminine quality. Also, not true. People have lemonade of all genders. All
Yeah.
people of
They
all
act
genders
like
have lemonade.
lemonade isn't a thing.
Yeah, it's like I was so confused, and it like whenever I read these kinds of posts, like my brain just goes like cannot compute mode.
Yeah,
Like
it doesn't make any sense. It never makes any sense.
yeah,
But that's like the idea of someone being high maintenance. It doesn't really make any sense.
yeah.
like,
So
like if they're
so
too much for you, then why are you dating them?
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That it's very relative. It's really up to you what you think is
Uh-huh.
high maintenance or low maintenance or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like they
Um,
always say, like, what is your price of admission for being in the relationship, right? It's like,
yeah,
there's
yeah. It's
always
not up to
something
you.
you're not gonna like, and you're not gonna like it forever. But you know what?
Yeah, what is a deal breaker? What is not a deal breaker?
Uh huh.
That's some of the things that we have to evaluate. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, coming back to the story that I was
Yeah.
saying that so this person seems like he was used for sex for some reason, and that happens because I personally know someone
Uh huh.
who was in a polyamorous relationship with a couple. So they were already a couple, and my friend um, met
So
them.
she was the unicorn.
Yeah, she was a unicorn, exactly. I was trying to remember the word while speaking to you, but thank you. So she was the unicorn, and it to her it seemed like they were having, yeah, I mean she knew that she was kind of like the guest, but and she was taken care of by this couple. So the whole dynamic of that group was that they were the main ones who lived with each other, and she was kind of like the guest who they dated.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was romantic. I mean, to her, it was romantic and sexual. But apparently, she started to get ghosted, and like there's a lack of communication, as you were saying, like what they really wanted from her or what she wanted from them. I don't know. Like it seemed like there was some kind of miscommunication, and that really hurt her. So I think that that story is like really similar to what I was reading, where this person is also saying that maybe this person like reached out to them and for support and love, and they were like, no, we just wanted sex from you or something like that. So they were not very clear to each other exactly
Yeah.
what the relationship entailed.
Yeah, which sucks, honestly. Like when you're not 100% like on the same page with what the relationship is, and that is a big that's a problem in like everyday society when I mean you hear about stories like that, like I think they're even cliche in a lot of like dramas and stuff where it's like oh this relationship wasn't that kind of relationship, and it's like well, why did we not know what kind of relationship it was?
Yeah. So
Like
why do you think like, I mean, I think my question is that do you think that this person who wrote the rant on the subreddit was this person like duped, or do you think that genuinely there was some miscommunication? But like, how would you know?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
how would you know that this is like we didn't communicate to each other well? Like, how would you know what good communication is, and make sure that this doesn't happen to you?
I mean, it would have to be clear, concise communication. You as you say to 3-year-olds, use your words. Like if you're feeling that something isn't 100% correct, or you might be seeing signs that maybe you're not understanding fully, or even if you just want to be sure, use your words and be like, okay, so where are we? Are we dating, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is your definition of the relationship we have? Should I go find someone else if I want emotional support, or are you going to be my emotional support? Like, making clear and concise conversations.
Am I your emotional support thing?
Sure, babe.
Sure, big.
Yes, babe. You are.
What did he say? I didn't
He
quite
said
catch that.
he was like, "Am I your emotional support, babe?"
He's just confirming. Well, we talked about communication, so he's just
There
making sure.
it is. A weird example, but an example. Yeah, it's like sometimes you have to have uncomfortable conversations, and that's just
Yeah, I guess it
how
goes
it
to
is.
show that how we cannot assume things just because I think we all get into relationships with our own. I don't want to say this word, but it's kind of like that. Like we come with some sort of baggage, ideas, and yeah, concepts about relationships that we probably learned
Mm-hmm.
in our childhood. So that might not necessarily match with other people.
Yeah.
And yes, I think it's so important that we have those conversations, even though they may make us uncomfortable a little bit, but it's important for our mental health.
Yes. I don't remember who. I know it was on a podcast where I heard where they talked about the romantic comedy effect, where a relationship follows a very, very specific story beats. And because it's something you see over and over and over again, it's what you assume a relationship is going to be, especially if you've been seeing it since you were really young. Then that's what you think a relationship is going to be.
Yes, I think it's also, I wouldn't like completely blame it on like TVs and movies and stuff like that, because I think it's our guardian's duty to tell us that, okay, you watched this really shitty movie, but let me tell you, that's not how relationships work. I think somebody needs to be there to tell us what we should and shouldn't learn, but especially when there is nobody else to guide us in what good relationships, healthy relationships look like, then we, of course, as kids, would take cue from what we watch on TV.
Exactly. Like, theoretically, hopefully, preferably, the people who raise you should show you what good relationships are.
Yes.
And that's unfortunately not what a lot of us end up with. Because not all of us, like, there's this idea where parents have I also think it's probably a societal thing where parents do not actually show in front of their kids how healthy discussions are done. They'll wait until the kids are asleep, or they'll wait until the kids are playing in the other room to have these conversations. And not all of your conversations should probably be in front of the kids, but a couple, the kids should see it and be like, oh, it's okay for when you love someone, it's okay to disagree with them sometimes, and that's the way that you discuss and find common ground. It's mom hates that the walls are green and dad really likes this color green, and they decided, you know what, let's just repaint it into teal because she loves blue, and so blue and green are together and it creates teal.
The kid needs to hear that discussion though, like when they are kind of negotiating.
And it's okay for your kids to hear you fight sometimes. Not if you're
Yeah,
fighting all
yeah.
the time, there's something wrong with your relationship. But but like
Yeah, I mean, if you're constantly fighting, like, please go to a couples therapist.
yes, as quickly as possible.
Yes,
But
yes. But
like
I think, but I mean, we can be upset. I think it's okay to be, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but in my opinion, in my lay opinion, I think it's okay to be upset in front of our kids, but letting them know that it's no way their fault, because kids are a
yeah,
little narcissistic and they tend
they're
to think that everything,
a little narcissistic.
I'm just being nice, okay? So kids are narcissistic and they think everything is about them. Like
Yes.
even if their parents are fighting, they think that they caused it somehow. Like wow.
Like no,
So
you're
yeah,
not that
kids are like
important in
that.
this moment.
Yes. But I think we can fight, or I mean not fight like as in you suck, motherfucker. Like not that fight. I mean having
But
an
disagree.
disagreement. Exactly. You're having an argument with your partner, and I think as long as you are talking to each other respectfully, um, and still disagreeing with each other, I think that's a very healthy thing to show to your kids, to kind of role model how, yeah, you can have disagreements in relationships. Does not mean it's the end of the world. Does not guarantee, does not warranty disrespect, and it can be handled in a peaceful and calm manner. And if we cannot be calm, then we'll talk about it later once we've cooled off. So I think when kids would see that, they would repeat that in their own relationships when they're adults.
Yeah.
And I think that would be great, because a lot of this is something that I read a long time ago. I will not be able to like quote it exactly, but you guys can find it out on the internet. I'm sure it's there. So kids learn mostly from your body language and your actions than they actually like listen to what you say.
Yeah.
You know, like if you really want to teach your kids something, model it as much as you can in front of them, and less of telling them what to do and more of modeling what you want them to do.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way to teach your kids and raise them. So I think that is so true. I absolutely do agree. I mean, in hindsight, I not only see that's how I have learned a lot of my parents' ways of doing things, but I also see like kids, because I used to be a teacher and I have so many nieces and nephews, and I see them growing up. Then I see them modeling their parents' behavior too, whether that's kind or rude, both of them. So I think that's so true, and we need to be so careful about how we act, and it's really gonna stick to our kids. So.
Yes.
And
Yes, I
what
would
are we
agree.
talking about kids now?
I don't know. We got all the way to kids after talking about, disagreements and polyamory and how things can go wrong. That's just the rabbit hole we fell down.
Yeah, we always do that. Always do that. So let's move on to another story.
Mhm.
Okay, so the title of this story is Poly Etiquette. This
Okay.
person, these are all subreddits of polyamory. So this person is saying, okay, what is the name of this? The username is throwaway poly q. Never mind. So this person says, I am part of a heterosexual monogamous marriage. A married couple, not close friends of ours, had us over for a backyard hangout. It went well. After we left, one of them texted one of us. In bracket, it said T. What is that? Okay. So after we left, one of them texted one of us and said that they had wanted to tell us that they have been poly for a year and wanted to know if we were, due to having friends in our local poly community. T said, so I guess this person is not naming this. So T said that we were monogamous but had considered exploring poly life, with T being more interested than I was. They texted T back saying that they thought T was very attractive. They then texted T more about their journey of going poly, including why cheating isn't a thing in healthy, open poly relationships. I am taking this as them hitting on T after T defined our boundaries. but T does not see it that way. We may run into them soon, so T and I thought we would ask the experts. How should we respond? So the title of this post was Poly Etiquette, which I think is very important to discuss. What are the etiquettes of polyamorous?
Being polyamorous? I mean, I think you take it as an idea of like religion. Like, don't shove your lifestyle into other people's faces.
Right.
Don't try to force someone to live the same lifestyle that you do. That's basic. That's basic etiquette.
Yeah.
So like they asked if these people were polyamorous because they were friends with other polyamorous couples.
Yeah.
So and they said no, not at this time. And so we have one partner that is more interested in polyamory than the other. And that's actually very common. They are called it happens a lot where one partner is more into it than the other, and they consensually agree to try it. And so you have one partner that's very excited about it, and then you have the PUD, who is poly under duress.
What is that?
PUD, poly under duress. So they are polyamorous, but because their partner wants to be polyamorous.
Oh, okay.
But they're not sure about it. Like they're like, I don't really, but kind of. You know, they're on the fence. And a lot of times they do end up, you know, fully in the lifestyle. Not always. But sometimes that's a type of relationship that can also work, where one person is more polyamorous than the other, and the other one's just kind of sharing their partner with other people. And only monogamous with their one partner.
You know what I'm feeling is that whoever wrote this rant is not comfortable in a polyamorous relationship, because this person's partner T said that they were monogamous but had considered exploring poly life. So apparently T is very attractive. Yeah, T is very attractive, and the couple who proposed that apparently seems to be more attractive to T. And this partner who is ranting is, I feel he or she feels a little threatened. They feel a little threatened because towards the end they write, I am taking this as them hitting on T after T defined our boundaries. I don't think T defined the boundaries. I think T just said that they were monogamous, primarily monogamous, but they're considering it. But T does not see it that way. T does not think that they are hitting on him. And so I feel like somehow this person is a little threatened. Do you think this going polyamorous for this couple would be a good idea? I see some doubts.
I mean, it's the thing. It's like you don't know until you actually give it a try, to be honest. Like, if you find out that trying to pay attention to more than one person at the same time is too much for you to handle, then it's probably not something you're going to enjoy. But that also doesn't mean that being with someone and not being with other people isn't something, because being exclusive to someone while that someone is non-exclusive to you is a very valid relationship type, if that's what works for you. But I think there is the lack of there's a very slight lack of communication between the two people, I think, between T and the original poster, OP, we shall call them. And OP needs to probably tell their partner that they are not feeling very comfortable with these ideas at this time. Like, even if in the past they had discussed it, like right now probably isn't a time where they feel comfortable with it still. And that's valid. And
I
there's
think this
nothing.
is a good time for throwaway polycute you to kind of identify their boundaries
Yeah.
in the relationship. What are they okay with and what are they not okay with? And
Mhm.
then discuss, like really, really think about that themselves first and then talk about it with their partner
Uh-huh.
and take it from there, basically. I think that would be like the best thing to do, like instead of just letting, I mean, just getting into something because your partner wants it when you are not 100% sure that if you are
Mhm.
okay with it or not. I don't think
Yeah.
getting into anything without being 100% sure is a good thing at all. Yeah, I would say in most cases that's true. So, especially in this where things can go so wrong, if you're not sure, it's even more important that they are like more than 100% sure that this is what they want, or their boundaries and their likes and dislikes and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yes. Um.
Okay, I have to share this story with you.
Okay. Share the story with me. I'm listening.
Okay, so this is another story from the same subreddit, Polyamory. This is a pretty long post. I mean, not too long, but longer than usual.
Okay.
So this person's Reddit name is Scared and Confused. So Scared and Confused says, warning, long rambling text to follow, TLDR at the bottom. It's now been a bit over 4 months since my wife came out as poly. She came back about 2 weeks later. She insisted we make a rules of respectful poly agreement, which we did and both signed per her insistence. This included no male secondaries until I was ready. I wasn't really ready for secondaries at all, as it was all so much to take in. But thought if she could pursue a girlfriend, it would make her happy and bother me less than a boyfriend would. She swore up and down that the guy I had felt she was cheating on me with to some degree, like sending nudes, remote control lush, emotional cheating, was only because he helped her come to terms with who she was, and she didn't think of him in that way at all. I accepted this, and it actually made me feel a lot better knowing that she hadn't actually been cheating on me. That lasted for about 3 weeks, with her continuing to constantly talk to him until they started officially going out and the nightly video sex started. After a couple of weeks of that, she at least stopped moaning loudly enough to keep me awake. She started going on dates with him during the height of the quarantine, where she told me that she didn't have any boundaries, so there was nothing he could ask of her that she'd say no to. About a month and a half ago, he started giving her commands, and she started to wear a new collar pretty much 24/7. A few weeks after that, she finally admitted that they had decided he was her new master in a BDSM style. So far, we've been fairly low key about me being her master, and he had picked out the collar. At this point, she started to feel really bad. I think she's felt pretty bad about how she's gone about things all along. This was just extra bad due to all the lies she had to tell to keep it a secret, and offered to not have sex with him until I was ready. Since then, she and our therapist have been acting like I'm an asshole for accepting her offer and not immediately saying I'm okay with something I'm not at all okay with. They've also been saying that everything she's done is in the past and I should have already forgiven her for it. A couple of days ago, she informed me that he's planning on buying her a full-on locking collar for her to wear instead of the simple one he merely picked out. During this time, I've spent a lot of time reading up on poly, lurking here, exercising, reacquainting myself with friends, thinking about poly, and thinking about our marriage. At this point, I think I could be happy in a healthy poly or monogamous relationship. I also do not think that this has been a remotely healthy poly relationship. I'm 4 months in, but she's been obsessing over him and doing things that could very much be considered cheating for over 8 months. I think in the future, poly will not be a deal breaker for me, but I also feel like the chances of saving this marriage are somewhere between low and non existent. So the TLDR was, I think I can accept poly now, but I don't think my current marriage is healthy poly.
Yeah, it does not sound like healthy poly. There was so much contract breakage. There was so much distrustful behavior. Like she said, no, I'm not going to date men until you're ready, and then she went ahead and dated a dude anyway. And it's like, okay, you're like, no, this is not how any type of relationship works. If you say no until I'm ready, then it's no until I'm ready, and that's just the way it is. And I'll let you know when that is. And what's with the therapist?
I know.
What's with the one-sided therapist? They need a new therapist.
Yeah.
You can't have a one-sided therapist. A couples therapist cannot be completely like, oh yeah, he's the asshole. No, a therapist is a what's the word for when you're in the middle?
Unbiased?
An unbiased party. Like, okay, like, you broke trust. You broke trust, and you have to rebuild it. And you, unfortunately, what you're doing with this other guy is just continuing to break trust, because, I mean, if your partner was doing the exact same thing, if you said you can't date women until I'm ready, and they're like, okay, and then they start dating this woman, and they make this other woman like their dom in less than 2 months, then it's like
yeah, I mean, from this post, it seems to me that Scared and Confused, that's the name of the, I can't remember. That Scared and Confused is very confused.
Yes. I would
about the whole thing.
confused.
I'm guessing it's a he. I think okay, I'm not gonna assume the gender. So they are like, I don't get it. Like, okay, you said you're poly, but then you've been with this guy for so long, and then suddenly, I mean, although I said I'm not okay with it, you still went out with him, made everything official. Like, I feel like
without discussing it with me first. Like, that's the problem. Like, you made it official with this other person without discussing it with your primary partner.
Exactly. It feels like he has been out of the discussion of what's happening.
Yeah, it's like your primary partner is your primary partner for a reason. They're the person you go to first. Like, if you find someone attractive, you go straight to your primary partner and you're like, hey, this person's hot. I wanna put my finger up their butt. And then if your partner's like, yeah, go put your finger up anybody's butt, and you're like, yeah, go put your finger up the butt, and you do that, and because your partner said, yeah, go do the thing. She's drinking your milk.
Oh my god.
She is being a naughty kitty today. She's just getting into everything today.
Yeah, she's like, I see milk, I drink it.
Yes, I see cookie, I eat it. What is this, trash? I'll steal it. That's what she's been doing all day.
Yeah.
She's having just one of those days.
Yeah, she's like, I don't understand private property and ownership. I see, I eat, I drink, I do whatever I want. Yeah.
What's this? Your desk? No, mine. Yeah. That's what she's doing right now.
Yeah, she doesn't have any of the possessive pronouns in her vocabulary.
No, she doesn't know what those are. Like, yeah. So anyway, before that happened, so she's basically treating this other dude as her primary partner when she already has a primary partner. So, like,
yeah, I think this was full-blown cheating. I don't think this was poly or any kind of relationship. This was a person who had been blindsided, who have been left out of the whole conversation. And I'm shocked how understanding this person is. Right? It's like, yeah, I mean, the first time that a person that I loved came out as poly is not a deal breaker for me. Like, although it hurt me, I still do not think poly is a bad thing, but it's just, this marriage is over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude,
Like, I don't
it
blame
has
you,
been
man.
over so long ago. It was over so long ago. And I think this, because there's not a lot of information about polyamorous relationships, the etiquette around it, which we were talking about before in the previous story, I think some people just get played,
Yeah.
you
Is
know?
it like because nobody talks about it? It's like the Wild West out there. Like any
Yeah,
all rules is nobody's rules, right?
yeah,
So like we can discuss, what's proper etiquette and whatnot, but the basic goes down to is communication is the biggest part of any relationship, and
clear.
more so in polyamorous relationships, because you can't just go and do whatever you want even though that's what your partner said you could do. You still have to check in. You still have to be like, hey, I'm going to date a giant 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide black guy. You all right with
Yeah.
that? Is this okay for you? That's huge and
Yeah,
scary.
I just imagined it. I was like, oh my God.
It's like, because I know you're gonna imagine it. So are you okay with that? I hopefully no bones will be broken. Like and it's something that you would, like any partner, you would have to run past your primary partner, no matter how long you have been polyamorous, no matter how much you trust each other, because you don't know where the line is, and you don't know where the line is yourself, even
Yeah,
where your own
yeah.
line is. Like maybe 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide is just a little too much. It's like, maybe your partner knows your limits. Like, I know, I think you're gonna break a hip, and I don't think you can take that. you know, like you
Okay.
barely took that 6 foot tall guy the other day. Like, I don't think he can do that.
Yes, I mean,
Did we learn nothing?
um, so so I feel like this guy, I'm saying guy again, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm just assuming that he is a guy because he seems really sweet. I think this guy was kind of gaslighted by his wife.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, no, this is I'm cheating on you. No, I'm not cheating on you. This is just polyamorous relationship. This is who I am. And yes, I love you, but I also love this man. But I'm only gonna have sex with him, not with you. Like, come on,
Like, did we? I didn't
come
know we had
on.
agreed to this. I was
Exactly.
not part of that discussion.
So in the same breath, I would share our last story for today.
Okay.
Okay. So this post is also under the subreddit Polyamory, and this is by B Key or B Queen. I don't know.
All right.
B Queen? B Queen? I don't know. B
E.
Queen. It's BEEQUEE.
All
B.
right.
Okay, so I've been dating my partner for over a year, and we decided on an open relationship after months of him discussing his desires and needs. So it's an open relationship,
All right.
right? This is still not in the reign of polyamory.
Uh huh.
I've never experienced any type of open relationship before. Before I speak honestly, I don't mean to paint him in a bad light. 3 months in, he tells me we aren't romantically or sexually compatible.
Ouch.
Okay, I didn't understand, but I tried. I'm not his type physically. He wants someone short and femme, wearing makeup and fancy clothes. Well, that's not me, but I tried. He described it as we can still be in love, even though I'm not exactly what he was looking for. Jump into a BDSM relationship he introduced me to. I enjoyed the sub-dom relationship in the beginning, getting colored, learning about sessions, being a respectful, good little sub. Everything has changed. We never finished discussing a 24/7 deal, but things in the bedroom stopped at month 3. I questioned it a lot. Then my attitude became a problem to him, a huge problem. I didn't feel I was ever speaking with a tone, but the fights were so bad. I usually put my head down and apologize. I suppose I just felt like shit, honestly. I'll never be good enough sexually, romantically. I'll never be his type. He has mentioned small things that doesn't help him be attracted to me. For example, my not wearing makeup, but tank tops, wearing puffy clothes, being too tall, it's all made me feel super self-conscious, which he then lectures me about. I feel like a question the other night. I totally flipped. I didn't apologize. And well, he broke up with me. Said we are toxic, that I'm arrogant and manipulative. 3 months ago, I would have apologized, cried, did anything to please him. But I never truly felt like he was wrong. He deserved my respect. I've accepted I'm not his type, and I'm realizing I'm a beautiful person. I met someone else, and well, he's my relationship. Everything started with me having 2 boyfriends. And now I'm done. He treats me right and is so kind. My heart is hurting. I feel very confused about this entire situation. Am I crazy to believe I actually am in the wrong here? I felt for so long that I could really try to please partner one, but at this point and all the emotional hurt, I didn't expect him to leave me, but I'm almost relieved. Should I let this relationship go?
Yeah. I don't understand, like, why would you date someone who isn't your type?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. If you want someone who's short, then why would you ever date someone who isn't short?
And what is really interesting to me is that this guy found it out after dating this woman for over a year, because that's how she starts the post. I've been dating my partner for over a year.
Sounds like excuses.
Right? And
those are excuses.
Then they decide to be in an open relationship. Honestly, if somebody has dated you for over a year, they have had enough time to know who you basically are. You know, like maybe not the entire you, because nobody knows the entire you, but they would have a fair idea, like whether they would be able to go on with this relationship or not. And I think he did not want to break up with her, and because I've seen this in a lot of guys, they don't want to feel like they're the bad person, right? They don't want to feel like the villain of someone's story. Like maybe he just got bored and he realized that she is not his type, and instead of saying that honestly, like, hey, you know what, I know we've been dating for over a year and things are going well, I guess, but that's not the case with me because I'm not attracted to you anymore.
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So I think he didn't want to say that because he thinks that that would make him look like a bad person. So if he becomes a bad person, then he is not in power.
Yes.
Right? So for this guy, it's all about power. So that's why instead of breaking up with her and being honest about how he felt, he gaslighted her into an open relationship and then blamed her when he was not attracted to her.
Yes, that is exactly what he did. It's your fault that you're not attractive to me.
Yeah. And then he broke up with him because then he felt like he had enough reasons saying that your tone was not good enough, you didn't try hard enough, blah, blah, blah. So now he's not the bad person because in his head, the girlfriend used a bad tone. So he has a good reason to break up with her. But he was just playing her all this time, trying not to be the bad guy. And I've seen this with narcissists a lot. Like, they, in their fucking story, in their fucking narrative, they cannot be the bad guy, even though they are. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they can't admit it. They can't face themselves being a bad person. And I mean, like, and ironically, they are just like doing exactly that by not being openly communicative and manipulating the other person. But in their head, they're like, no, 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 I tried everything. I told them that I was not attracted to them. I told them that they were not good enough for me. They didn't change. They got mad because they were not good enough for me. So yeah, I said bye to them. Like, what?
How is that making you look any better? It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
but in their head, they're like, no, 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 I had good reason. I'm just not breaking up with her because she's unattractive. I'm breaking up with her because she's a bitch for not being attractive to me.
Exactly.
Just like, oh my God, this is in no way a polyamorous relationship, guys.
No.
Like, I mean, this
He's
is
not a dom either. That's not a
yeah.
dom.
A
I
dom.
hate baby doms. They're the worst.
Exactly, like doms are very like this is something that I recently learned from this YouTuber called Cat Black, and she was saying that like doms are usually like really gentle and kind, secured people,
Yes.
right? And this person does not sound secure to me at all,
No.
at all.
Not
This
like.
person just wants power, but not in a healthy way.
And it's so easy to get power in a healthy way. I don't understand.
Exactly.
I don't understand these kinds of people. I don't think I ever will.
Oh well.
Oh
So
well.
now that we have talked about polyamory going bad, I mean, in many ways, it's the confusion about polyamory that makes it
Yes.
go bad. But polyamorous, by theory, by itself, by definition, is not a bad thing. It's just it's a preference. Sometimes it works for some people. It doesn't work for some people. As simple as
Yes.
that. Just as monogamy is not for everyone.
Exactly.
So I would now like maybe talk about like the last point of our discussion, which is can or should polyamorous people have families? Should they have children? If yes, how would that look like compared to a monogamous relationship? What do you think?
I mean, I have known of I've read of these kinds of relationships where the reason that they are polyamorous is because one of the couples didn't want children and the other one did. So they went and they started a family with a different partner because the primary partner did not want children. And so that is a polyamorous relationship that involves children. Whether or not they lived in the same house is different. I think most polyamorous relationships do not live in the same house. The ones that do are usually like up to like 4 or 5 people maximum, because then that's just too many people in a house.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if that whole group, let's say a group of 5, and one of them gets pregnant, and they all raise the child together, and they're raising the child as a healthy and functional member of society, then just a tale, just then the family that the child came from is the same as any other family, as long as the child is being raised.
What would you say to people who make comments such as, oh, the child will be really confused?
I mean, children live their life being confused, so it's no different. There are children who don't understand how air works, and that's just how life is.
Yeah.
You're not gonna know how air works. I'm sorry. Nobody knows.
What I would say about that is that there are many cultures in the world where a child is raised by a village, by a community. So yeah, that community may not be in a polyamorous relationship with each other, but I think the concept is pretty much the same. That child is being raised by multiple people, and it's not just the biological mother and father who are responsible for the child's good health and good mental and physical health. I think it's a bunch of people who are responsible and they share responsibilities with each other. So I don't understand why people would say that children will be confused. Like, yeah, maybe they don't need to call everybody mom and dad. Maybe they can call their biological fathers and mothers mom and dad and everybody by their name. That wouldn't change their relationship with the child, though, because they are all agreed to raise the child like their own. So I think we need more to conclude, I would say that what we need is more acceptance and discussion on polyamorous relationships so that there can be like certain things about polyamorous relationships can maybe legalized, like how monogamous relationships, there are so many legal aspects in a monogamous relationship. I think polyamorous relationships should also be accepted in the eyes of the law. And in case one of the partners break that contract, there should be some kind of repercussion or some kind of penalty, for the lack of a better word, especially when a child is involved.
Yes, like if, let's say, a group of 4 people raise a single child. I mean, for one, that is going to be a very lucky child because there's always going to be someone who's going to be able to pick them up from daycare. There's always going to be someone who's going to be able to go to their recitals, go to their soccer games. There's always going to be someone. There's, a parental figure they will not lack. And all these adults already have such a good communication with each other that coordinating what is needed for the child is probably not going to be a problem. So this child is going to have, everything that every kid could ever need, which is attention and someone to teach them the things that they cannot possibly learn on their own, and a very open scope of what the world is like. Because when you're being raised by 4 different people, that's 4 different views on how the world works. And being that kind of open person, being able to accept many people's points of view on many things is a skill that we all honestly really need to have, because when you start dealing with a lot of people, you have to be able to see things from their point of view, or at the very least accept their point of view as, as their own, and not something that you should try to force change unless it's stupid, like flat earth theory, in which case just ignore them.
Yeah.
But like a child being confused about what is a healthy relationship, I don't think that would be a thing.
Yeah, I agree, because we've been doing this for a while now. I mean, sticking to monogamy and this obsession over monogamous culture is probably in the last 200, 300 years, probably. But we've always had so many cultures where people were involved in polyamorous relationships. And if we do a little bit of Google search, we will find them out. People, communities raising children. So this will be nothing new. But what I would like to see is polyamorous relationships being accepted as valid in the eyes of the law, so people involved in them can be protected. So let's maybe end our discussion today by asking each other if we are polyamorous or not, or how would we define our relationship preference. So what is yours?
My relationship preference at this time is monogamous. Mostly because polyamory is a lot of work. It's a lot. You got to be remembering a lot of birthdays, a lot of anniversaries.
The logistics, right?
You got to remember a lot of things about a lot of people that you care about, and my memory isn't good, so I it's not something I want to deal with at this point in time. And like I had thought about polyamory back when I was still young and didn't have a job and had the time to dedicate to these kinds of things. but it's like like it wasn't something that, at least at the time, that worked for me. It might have been, the partners I chose at the time probably could have, been better choices. But that's, you're young, you're dumb, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Don't try to go polyamory when you're under 20. Don't do that. It's dumb. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I would say that I'm also monogamous. I think I've always been. And I know that for sure because I did try to be in a polyamorous relationship. And it was extremely confusing to me. Maybe because I don't think the lack of communication was a problem. I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand it. And I honestly did not feel, probably one of the main reasons that I wasn't really into it was because I was not that intensely attracted to either of them. I just mildly liked both of them. And I somehow, like, now I understand, I somehow thought that two mild attractions would become, like, together it would be like a big grand attraction, but it isn't like that. Two mild attractions, it actually becomes duller.
Yeah.
So I guess I was just not into it. And I was like really in my headspace of experimenting everything that is under the sun, which I have no regrets about, in case you are wondering.
Always a good
now
thing.
I'm sure of myself. So I don't think I would ever be okay with polyamory in my case. Because I think I thrive more in a one-to-one relationship. And it's not just about romantic relationships. I don't know, I just like with what, like for example, when I'm talking to you, Emma, like, I feel like I'm getting to know myself better. I feel like we're really bonding. And I would feel the same way when I'm talking to, another person. So it's, for me, I just thrive and feel better and confident and fulfilled when I have like these strong one-to-one relationships. And I think that's what I'm more comfortable in. I would consider polyamory if I'm the queen of the group.
Yeah.
If I'm the queen of the group and they are all there to love me, yes.
I want
yes
only narcissistic polyamory.
Yes. A polyamory that is centered around me. I'll think about it. But that's not gonna happen. So because I'm not a queen and they are people who have their own needs that need to be met. So yeah, I don't think I will ever be polyamorous. I never was polyamorous. I'm very happy. I've been very happy with monogamous relationships, and I've never felt the need to look outside. And whenever I felt the need to look outside, it's because I didn't like the person that I was with. It was not because, oh, I'm very happy with this person and I want to be also with this. It has never been like that. It's like, I'm sick and tired of you, my primary partner, fuck you. I want to be with this guy or with this girl. So it has always been like one or the other. It has never been, oh, can we love two people at the same time? No, it hasn't happened to me yet. And I agree with you. The logistics is what really like turns me off.
Yes.
It's just like, I just want to meet my just one partner's needs. Like, I just can't deal with it. Like, because I also have to meet my own needs, right? It's just already two people for me, and so that's it.
Too many people. Two people is too many people already.
Yeah.
Remembering two birthdays? That's hard.
Yeah, I would say I'm very good at remembering birthdays, and this is something that was conditioned into me by my mom, because my mom always remembered everyone's birthday, and she kind of subconsciously taught me that this is a way you express that you love them and care about them, and I picked it up. So I'm pretty good at remembering people's birthdays, but that's not the point. The point is they would need me emotionally, and I don't think that I'll be able I'll be able to be there for them. Because there are so many times that some of my family members or friends want my emotional attention, and I'm just like, nothing.
I can't do that.
Yeah, just cannot handle, because I don't know, I just get emotionally exhausted very quickly. I don't have a lot of reserve.
Yes, you have very
So,
few spoons.
yeah, it's just one for me, one for my boyfriend, and
That's it. That's all your
that's it.
spoons.
That's actually one of the reasons that I haven't had kids yet.
Yeah. You need a lot of
I,
spoons if you have kids.
yeah, and that kid would be all about himself or herself, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I can't have that kind of a narcissistic energy. I just can't.
yeah, exactly. Cannot have that narcissistic energy in my life. I can't. I cannot do it.
I know. Like, I'm narcissistic enough. We don't need two people who want to
Yes.
be in charge of everything.
Yes. I'm
Cannot
already
be.
obsessed with meeting my own needs and my partner's needs. I cannot be obsessed with anybody else's needs.
So we
It's just
cannot
not
have
right.
a third opinion on what will we be having for dinner. Can't do
Exactly,
that.
exactly. We are already struggling. We're already struggling on what to have for dinner, whether we should order in or whether we should cook. And if we cook, what should we cook? I cannot. Just
Cannot.
no can do.
Yes, cannot do that. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Too many things. So, as the kitty comes back into the room and attacks a box, we come to the end of our episode.
Yes.
So, we highly recommend the websites that we used.
Yeah.
r/polyamory is a good place to see real life reactions and questions about polyamory. Scarlet Teen is also a really good place to find basic information about sexuality.
Yeah.
If you want to know, if you want to see what a healthy polyamorous relationship looks like, I recommend What's the Safe Word? They are a polyamorous gay couple, and they're always talking about, they have a YouTube channel where they talk about, sexuality and sex oriented discussions, and their polyamorous relationship pops up quite often in these discussions. So it's like, that's how they show, how easy and how good it can be if that's your thing and you're good at communication. What was the other one? I'm sure if you look up polyamory on YouTube, just be careful when you go into polyamory on YouTube, because there's just as much positive as there is negative. So
yes, I completely agree with you that we need to like do our we can like definitely go to these places to like kind of see what polyamory looks like in real life and what people are saying about it. But if you are in any way considering polyamory, if you are thinking about it, you're not sure if you're polyamorous or what exactly fits your sexual orientation, preference, please go to a therapist. A therapist or a mental health expert or a relationship or a clinical therapist, I mean, would be able to best guide you into exploring your sexuality in a way that you come to that conclusion and not anybody telling you what it is that you want or don't. But they will be able to guide you better. So please, if you are in any way thinking about your sexual orientation, identity, etc., please talk to a therapist if you can. And I know a lot of therapists are doing online sessions, so that shouldn't be a problem in the COVID-19 era.
Another good thing would be to look for like BDSM groups around you. Even if you're not, even if you don't want to get into BDSM, a lot of them are in open relationships, and and they're like masters of consent. So if you want like information from people who live close to you and a community that is, really like together, that's another good place to look, see when they are having, when they're having munches, which is when they go to lunch and discuss, and no sexual things of any kind happen. They're called munches. So you can go to a munch, you can get to know people, you can have questions answered by
That's
people
great.
who know what they're talking about. Stop attacking the bags. And like learning from real people who are currently going through something that you're considering
Yeah,
is a good place to start, because
absolutely.
nobody can tell you how much it hurts to burn your hand on the stove than someone who burned their hand on the stove.
Probably a couple of times.
A couple of times in a row on purpose. You know?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's just how life is.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of housekeeping. Follow us on Instagram, you know, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Google
Stitcher,
Podcast.
Google Podcasts, and we have an RSS feed. So we're on a lot of other podcasting places.
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm not sure what all
your
of them are.
podcast on. I'm sure we are there.
Yeah,
And
I'm pretty sure.
let us know, like, if there's any particular topic that you would want us to discuss on. Let us know. And if you like the video, please like the video
Mhm.
and share it with people who you think might be interested in your communities, in your groups. So yeah, show us your love through comments and likes and subscriptions. And we will do whatever you want us to do.
Not everything, but most.
With boundaries.
We have our boundaries.
Yes, I meant
Yeah.
like we will talk about whatever you want us to talk about.
Yeah, we pretty much will talk about anything, even if it's just us making faces and going, ah.
Yeah,
we'll
we
talk
will do
about
that too. Let us know if you want us to do that.
Yeah, do you want us to watch nasty things and just go, ah? Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, totally.
Like we did with the ghost episode. It was just us going,
yeah.
the whole time. That's just the whole time.
I am
That's your
so
phone!
sorry.
And that was so scary.
It happened exactly when you said that we were watching ghost stuff.
Yes, that was scary.
Isn't it too much of a coincidence? Quinky dinky.
There's no such thing as coincidence.
Yeah.
So, just follow us on all the things, like us on all the things, share our podcast with people who you would enjoy the podcast, and even people who you don't think will enjoy the podcast. Just send it to them anyway.
Yeah, that would be a good revenge thing.
Yes, it would. Make them listen to our voices. So, as we say at the end of every single episode, I will always communicate with you.
And you will always communicate with me.
And we'll see all of you guys next time for our astrology. Bye.